Hello everyone and welcome to AGCAD webinar CLT panels for walls, floors and roofs in Revit. And first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Eve and I'm an architect and a BIM consultant from AGCAD. Our mission is building BIM together, which means that we align our clients' needs and develop solutions for continuous BIM acceleration. Our promise to clients is reducing BIM stress. We help to eliminate tasks that do not create value. And this webinar will be about wood framing CLT. You'll see how to create CLT panels for walls, floors, and roofs by using AGCAD's wood framing software and sample families. Also, you'll see how to design ventilated facades on top of that. Our framing software for Revit is not only for multi-layer timber frames, but it can also design high-quality ventilated facades, also architectural curtain walls, frames with structural insulated panels, and even heavy timber framing. So everything depends on the configuration and on the families that we're distributing. The software is really flexible. So in this webinar, you'll see how to set up configurations and standards for creating CLT panels for walls, floors, and roofs, also easily generate sheeting and paneling layouts, distribute and manage details for creating connections, also design high-quality ventilated facades, and automate shop drawings and cut lists. And as you can see, this is just a simple project modeled with standard Revits, walls, roofs and floors and windows and so on. So before using our software, we have to have a model created in Revit. Then, using our software, we load all the families or all the structural framing elements and structural connection elements to our project that will be used in designing CLT panels. And then we create configurations, so rules, how the elements are distributed into our walls. In these rules, we can predefine what kind of elements do we want to distribute, how openings are framed, how connections are framed, or how the parts are split. And then we save these configurations using our own name so that later they can be used on the future projects. They can even be saved on a shared location, like on your company's server, so all of your colleagues would have access to them, and all of them can use them. So, as I mentioned, they can be created only one time and then used in the future. And then when we create those configurations, we create a wall link. So, as I mentioned, this is just a simple wall created in Revit, and you can see that I have all these layers created. And now I have a window that is called a wall link. And when I open it, you can see that I have right here the wall structure that is created in Revit. So I have 6 layers, and to each of those layers, I can map specific configuration. So right now to the structure layer, I'm saying that I want to add the main frame, so the main CLT panel layer. This is the configuration that I created right here, and I mapped it. And also I can create configurations for the parts. So the CLT panels and the insulation on top of them, and then the facade panels on top of insulation. All of them will be created as parts in Revit. So you'll see that. Okay, and now I will open another view. And in this view, you can see that I've already generated CLT panels on half of the building. So you can see that on this part, I already have parts generated. So all of these CLT panels are created as parts, but I don't have them yet on this side of the building. So during the presentation, that is what you're going to see. I will finish the building by creating CLT panels on this side of the building and on whole floors and roofs and so on. So right now, big CLT panels are generated on this side of the building, and on this one, I will generate it by different configurations so you could see some variety. So let's go ahead. I will select all of the walls in this view. I will click on frame wall, and now the tool is creating frames and parts for 12 walls in this project. So you can see that it's starting to work, and you can see instantly that CLT panels are much smaller. On this side of the building, as I mentioned, I'm using a different configuration. And that's it. I already have the parts split, but of course the connections are still left, so we'll add connections later. And now I will open the Manage Walls window, because using this I can very easily select all interior walls. You can see that I can filter them out like this for one floor, and then I can hit frame wall again like this, and this wall is created with the sheeting, and the connection is really detailed, as you can see straight away. Okay, and finally we can move on. So I will open another view for the parapet, and I will select all of it and frame it again. So for the parapet, I turned on the insulation parts. What you can see in this view instantly is that for the side of the building that I finished before the webinar started, I have split the insulation parts, and I've not done that for this side of the building because I just want to save our time. But for the parapet, I'm also I split the parts for the insulation as well. So the CLT panels are created every 6 meters, and also the insulation parts are split for the parapet. Yes, and you can see how nice it looks. And now I can go to the view, okay, and I can select it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the insulation parts for this roof. Okay, and it's done. So you can see that it's starting to come together. And now I will move on to the floors. So with the floors, it's a little more interesting because we're going to modify the frame. So, and we're also going to check the multi-framing functionality. So I'm going to select this floor and I'm going to frame it. So the workflow is the same. We already have the floors created in Revit. Now we're framing it, and the tool added these connection joists, and it split the parts again for the CLT panels. But these panels are too long for me, so I want to add an additional element, a split above this wall right here. So this wall will act as a support, and I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna use the add additional elements functionality from the Floor Plus, and I'm gonna add an additional bridging between these invisible elements that were added in the configuration. I'm gonna split the joist with this element, and I'm gonna select the wall to act as a support. And that's it, and now the tool will add the additional element. And now I just have to click on split parts, select the element from the frame, and that's it. And the parts are split and the frames are also split. Yes, and now I don't even have to do all of this workflow again for each of this floor because they are identical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open multi-framing, and I'm going to copy this frame with all CLT panels to all identical floors in my model. And that's it. So I won't have to modify each floor. I can just copy it like this. So it's pretty fast, as you can see. And also what can I do is I can frame these floors, and they use a different configuration. So I'm gonna just use frame and copy. Yeah, and that's it. And now what's left is the details for this floor, but I will add them later so you'll see. And now you can also see the connection that is really detailed. Before I add the details, I have to number the parts, so also the tool numbers them automatically. So I just need to use number parts and then number elements. So the tool is writing mark parameter values and values to other parameters that you choose to your elements and to your parts, to your structural framing elements and structural connection elements automatically. Yes, so all of that is numbered, and I can do also the same for the parts, for the floor parts. And now I can select the parts, so you could see that all of that is numbered automatically. And we will also see these values added in the shop drawings. So once I've numbered them, I will open another 3D view for connections, for adding details. And for this, I will take my Smart Details tool, another tool that I will use to add the details. So first of all, I will select all the headers in my model. And I will use Insert Details, Structural Framing, Header, Dovetails, Insert Details. So now the tool is inserting details automatically to 44 elements in my project. It's searching for the rules that I've added in the configuration and so on. And you can see that they're here. The details are added on all elements in my project, to all headers that I've selected. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the parts. So for that, I will open Select Elements menu and use Select Identical Main Parts in Project, let's say. Select this part. All identical parts are selected, as you can see, very quickly. And now again, I'm gonna use Insert Details, choose the CLT parts category and add dovetail assemblies. It's just an example with a dovetail, but any type of detail can be added. So I will just isolate this part and this detail so you could see how accurate this is. Isolate element, and you can see that the cuts are added right here, and the structural connection detail is also added right here. So it looks really good in my opinion, this detail. Yeah, and it's added, it's distributed everywhere. So as I mentioned, any type of detail can be added. So now I will select the main parts in level only. So not identical, but these ones. And again, I'm gonna insert details, choose the CLT parts and angles. Yes, and angles are distributed throughout the walls. I can also do the same for this side of the building, like this. And now what I can do is I can add connection dovetails. So I'm gonna select the main parts by layer in level. Yes, and I will insert the details to the connections. So connection dovetails, it added these details to the connections that it found. So this is a T connection, and we can see that this is an L connection, and also all of the details are added. And now I can select walls in the side of the building, and again add the connection dovetails. Yes, and finally the interior walls. Yes, and the final wall is left. This was a little different. Yes, and now that I've added all connection dovetails, for example, we can even isolate this wall again to see how it's added. Yes, so everything is really accurate. I will reset this view. And now let's add details for electrical fixtures. So you may notice already that I have electrical fixtures in my model, and I can add details even for these kind of elements. So I will again select these walls, insert the details, choose another group for electrical fixtures and electrical routing configuration. And that's it. You can see that Smart Details added a cut for these electrical fixture elements. We can also add these details in the interior walls. Okay, insert. Yeah, and that's it. And now I can go back to this 3D view created for the floors, and I can add details for this side of the building, for these floors. So I will open Select Elements menu of my floor tool, select parts by the layer. I will do this only for the top floor, and I will insert the details to this floor. I will choose CLT floor parts and CLT floor connection dovetails. That's correct. So as you can see, it looks really good, except for the side parts. So we can create different configurations for side, or I like to modify them. So we can just distribute them everywhere, and then we can remove them from where we don't need them anymore. Okay, I will again modify details. Now for this part, remove them from this side. Yeah, and that's correct. I've finished splitting the parts for these panels, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of the ventilated facade, how to create metal elements on this on these CLT panels, and later I will create shop drawings. So in order to do this, I will open Wall Framing Metal. As you can see, it looks pretty much the same, and the workflow is also the same. Yes, I will select these walls, and I will add the secondary frame. And you can see that these secondary frames for ventilated facades were just created. So I will move these windows a little bit so you could see more. Yes, and for example, we can open CLT parts in insulation. So for this part of the building, I've created not only the CLT panels, but also the insulation parts on top of them. And now I'm adding metal elements for creating ventilated facades. And if I would open a view with the panels, you can see that the panels also are added, the facade panels are added on top of the metal frame elements, like this. So this is really accurate and very detailed. And the only thing that I'm missing right now are the details. So now I can select parts, select mean parts by layer in level. Yeah, and I can insert the details automatically because the configuration is entered into the parts. So we can enter the configuration for all parts in our project, and then we don't have to insert details, then select configuration and so on. We can just choose auto insert. The tool reads the configuration from the part, and that's it. The details are here. These complex details were just added automatically on the whole frame. Yes, I can do the same for this floor. Auto insert. Yeah, and now I want to add bigger and stronger details to the floor. Yes, that's it. Yeah, and that's it. So you can see how powerful the Smart Details tool is. It just added all of these complex details automatically. I can isolate them so you would see how complex they are. So you can just download these details from the manufacturer's page, or you can create them yourself. And with our tool, you can just distribute them. I will reset the view and show you the final result. And that's it. So CLT panels, ventilated facade, the details, and all of that is created really, really quickly and automatically. The best part, that it's all automated. Let's create an assembly so you'll see all the shop drawings and cut lists generated automatically. So now I will just click on create frame, create assembly, select any element from my wall. So let's take a look. The 3D view is here, then the CLT front view is here. So as you remember, we numbered all of the parts automatically, so these are the numbers. Then we have the headers, and maybe I will open the main front view where we can also see all of the details added, and all of the measurements are added automatically. Everything is measured by the configuration, so you can create your own rules how the elements are measured. We can take a look at the section view, the material takeoff, where all elements are calculated, the connections, the headers, the CLT panels, and the part list is also here with the framing number mass calculated. And the frame schedule with the headers. And we had no sheeting, so that's why this is empty. Yeah, and that's it, I believe. Now we can compose the sheets and create all other views for other assemblies. So okay, don't run away yet. For those of you who had questions or want to wait for answers of other people's questions, but before answering, I want to mention that you can try this tool out. So just go to our webpage, ajcad.com, and you can download Tools for BIM doc, and from there you can download a trial of this tool, but for trying out wood framing CLT, you'll need to write us and send us your specifications of your own frames that you create, of your own panels that you create, so that we could help you. So thank you everyone for staying till the end. I hope you found this webinar beneficial. I hope you found out something new and you liked it. If you will think of any questions later, you can anytime write me to my email and I will try to help you.
AGA CAD, building BIM together.